Hi everyone. Uh, so I'm back with another video where we will talk about how to set up our application to do a REST API call using .NET Core. And yes, I know you already must have read about REST API call, so I don't need to actually explain what is REST API. I'll directly take you to the application itself, how to develop it. And before that, I would like to take you to one more web page. Let me share my video. Okay. Mhm. Yep. I hope you can see my screen. Okay. So we have a website called JSON placeholder. Yep. This one. Yeah. This. Okay. So this website over here gives you an opportunity to test your REST API call. So they have few things over here you can try out. They also give you some script, and then you have the resources which you can use. I can take one of the resources like this. This is the endpoint that they give you. So when you call this endpoint, this is a typically GET call. You click on it and you get this response in written. And let's go to something on post. So let me. Mhm. So yeah, this is the post call, but see guide for usage example. Okay, let's see the guide. Hmm. Okay. Okay. So this is a example of the post call, but this is definitely not written in C sharp. So we'll write the same thing in C sharp and try to find out how we can do the same thing. This is they have written in JavaScript, so it's something different, but we'll do in C sharp. Okay. So to do that, probably I'll create a new project. Okay, let's create a new project. Let's take the most simplest one, console application. Okay, let's create a console app. Okay, go on. Yep. And we can call it rest for me. And then we can create nest. I'm taking .NET 8. You can take anything, whatever we are going to use. Probably it will be usable for all the .NET versions. So we got something over here, console.writeline hello world environment. We have the program. So if you see, let's go to the web page again. Yep. So if you see, we have something called the ID as an output, and then the title and other things. Okay. So the title, the body, the user ID, and when we created that get call, you see this is something you get in over here. So we'll create a class on how to create the body of this REST call that we are going to do. So what we'll do, we'll create a class. Okay, let's add a file, new item, let it be a class, and then we can call this. What do you want to call this? Let's call this as the post body. Okay. So we'll add this as post body. Let's make this as a public. And then okay, the first one we can, let's go here. The first one is user ID. We'll create the user ID. So we can write prop and then tab it. And it's a shortcut, and you can create those properties. So the first is public int, and then I can call this what user ID. Okay, user ID. Okay, and then we can take the next one. So we'll not give the ID part. We'll take directly take the title and the body. Okay, string. Let's call this title, and let's call the other thing as the body. Hmm. So this is the class that we are going to use in order to create the post API call the body part, okay, the body section. Okay. Now what we are going to get from the response, right? So this is something that we are going to request. So when we do the request, we'll send this body. But when we get the response, we have to get the response in certain format. We have to map that, right? So let us add one more class. So we can call that as response. Okay. And for now, let's call that public prop. Yeah. Let's call this an ID that we are going to get returned. So it's small IND. Okay. So this is what we have created. We have created two classes, one for sending the request and one for receiving the request. And then in the body, let's do something where we can generate the request. Okay. So I'll remove this line for now. Okay. The first thing is we have to get a HTTP request. So what we can do, we can create a client. Okay. We can create a client, and the client should be a new HTTP request. So new HTTP client. So we got a client. So what do you need? The first thing that we can do with client. Let's see. Let's write client and then dot. Oh, sorry. So you see when you want to look at the methods that are part of this instance of the class, you'll see that we can give a base address. So let's take a base address. So we want to give it a base address. So the base address has to be a new URI. Okay. So next it will be a new URI. And what do you want to pass in the URI? In order to pass the URI, you have to go to the same uh, location and have to find out the URL. Okay, let's go to the URL. Mhm. Yeah. So this is the base URL that you can take. We'll put this URL over here. And then what will go? Now you have got a base address. Now you have to prepare the payload. So let's prepare the payload. Okay. Mm. So this payload can be the class that we have already created, the new post body. Okay. And the new post body, we have to initiate the post body over here only. Okay. So what did we plan to give? We plan to give an user ID. So let's give them an user ID. And then the next thing was basically a title, right? So we can give them a title called test, and then we thought about giving them a body. So body can be test body. Okay. Okay, done, done. So our payload is ready, right? So our payload is basically an object. Now, while we do the REST call, we generally pass the REST call as a JSON body in a post call. So what we'll do, we'll convert this to JSON kind of format. Okay? So we can call them as payload JSON. Okay, and then we'll use the JSON serializer. Okay, JSON JSON serializer, and then we can ask them to serialize our payload. Okay, so now we got the payload in JSON format. Okay, so now we have to pass this serialized payload as a content for the post call. Okay, now so we'll convert that as a string content. So let we can call them as content equal to a new string content, and then we can pass the payload JSON in the string content. So now our content is ready. Okay, what we need to do now is basically initiate the call. So let us map that response data. Okay, we'll get the response data into something, and then we already have the client with us. And let's say click the this dot. Okay, so we want to see the method. There will be one method called post method, and then if you see there's a post async method. Okay, so it's a async method because it's a REST API call. You don't know when to end, so you make it an async call. So now once you make that, and if you see now they are looking for a request URI, and then you are also looking for the content. So the request URI we have partially already captured as a base address. What we didn't capture is the endpoint. The base address plus endpoint gives you the complete URI. So here we'll only capture the endpoint. So what will be the endpoint? So let us see what will be the endpoint. So when we went over there, over here, if you see, this is the endpoint. So we already have captured this part of this URI, and then the second part is the endpoint. So we'll capture the endpoint. So let's capture the endpoints. And then after the endpoint, what do we need to pass? The content. So we already have prepared the content for us. Okay, nice. And then once you do that, we want the result back because we want the result to be written back as the response data. Okay, we will get the response. Okay. Now, once you have that response, what will you do with the response? The response will be in HTTP response, so you cannot directly use it. So first of all, you have to validate whether you are getting the response or not. So we'll put a if command. So and then in the if we can write as response data. Okay, response data. Then we'll want to check what are the methods are there in the response data. You'll see there is a method called is success status code. Okay, so we'll check whether we have got a successful response. If it is true, right? We got a successful response and we got the response. Okay, so once you know that the call has been successful, then you can take the output. Okay, now I'll put the output. Yeah. So we'll put the output, but now we know that we have put the data as a content and sent it over to the REST API call. So we'll follow the same path, but now in a reverse order. We have got the response data. Now, after response data, we have to take out the content. And once you get the content, now you have to convert it to a string. So, but we are going to read it as a string, but in async mode. And then obviously when we got that in the format of a string in async, then we take the result out of it and put it in output. Got that. Now let's look at the data in the format of a JSON response. Okay, so let's take a JSON out of it. So now JSON response. Oh, sorry. Response JSON response will be. We have to do the same thing, not serialize this time, but we could deserialize. Okay. JSON serializer dot deserialize. Now we want to deserialize and we have to map that. This is the data that we have got now. We have to map it into a class. And you already know that we have created a class called response. We'll map that into response. Okay, we have mapped that into response, and then what we are passing is basically the output that we already have got. Okay, this one. Nice. Now we can do a console write line. Console.writeLine, we can put the JSON response. But in JSON's response, what we got was, see, the first thing was ID. So let's print that ID. Now we'll run it and we'll check it. Let's save this and run it. My antivirus is taking a toll. We'll check. Wait for it. Mhm. Wow. What's up, man? Yeah, now my antivirus has passed it. So now we are supposed to get a response something. Got it, the response. So the ID we got is 101. So yep, that's it. From my side, this is how you can initiate any post call. You can make the body, you can print it over, and when you get the response, you can map that response to a certain class and print it, and maybe use it in any other thing. Okay, so that's it for me. For anything else, you can definitely reach out to me again. And yeah, back to basic. Thank you. Bye bye.